Back to the park! Back to the park!
My message to the students inside the encampment is go back to class and stop the nonsense. Look, if we want to have a debate on campus about the merits of these things, let's do that. But you can't intimidate your fellow students and make them stay home from class. Think about that. Is that right? A growing number of students have chanted in support of terrorists. They have chased down Jewish students. They have mocked them and reviled them. They have shouted racial epithets. They have screamed at those who bear the Star of David. Enjoy your free speech. They've told Jewish students who wear the Star of David to leave the country. And shamefully, some professors and faculty have joined the mobs. Things have gotten so out of control that the schools canceled in-person classes, and now they've come up with this hybrid model where they will discriminate against Jewish students. They are not allowed to come to class anymore for fear of their lives. We just can't allow this kind of hatred and anti-Semitism to flourish on our campuses, and it must be stopped in its tracks. Those who are perpetrating this violence should be arrested. And I'm here today joining my colleagues and calling on President Shafik to resign if she cannot immediately bring order to this chaos. Today, Hamas issued an endorsement statement of the protesters on this campus. They called them the future leaders of America. It is detestable. My message to the students inside the encampment is go back to class and stop the nonsense.
If you are a protester on this campus and you are proud that you've been endorsed by Hamas, you are part of the problem. When you cheer on the fact that you enjoy Hamas and Hezbollah, you are yourself part of the problem. Mr. Speaker, I am proud to join with you here today in calling for the immediate resignation of the President of Colombia. She has failed her duty. She is not keeping students safe. And we see on this campus the hate-filled speech that is carrying through this country.
Unedited video, raw footage of the attack. I watched exactly what Hamas did. I want Palestinians to be free too, from their oppressor, Hamas. And every single one of you students that support Hamas are an absolute abomination. If you want a ceasefire, the fastest way for a ceasefire to occur is for Hamas to surrender and to release the hostages. And if you can't call for that, you are a pathetic embarrassment to this institution and to students everywhere. It is time for President Shafik to resign in disgrace. She has lost control of this campus. She has lost control of this institution. And after listening to her comments inside, it is clear that she has no intention of getting this university under control and ensuring the safety and well-being of every student.
To every Jewish student listening to us, no matter where you are around the country, you have my word. The U.S. House of Representatives will do everything in our power to ensure that you are safe, you can freely practice your faith, and you can go to school, just like everybody else. We met briefly with the President and her top officials right before we came out on the steps here. We encouraged her to take immediate action and stamp this out. And our feeling is that they have not acted to restore order on the campus. This is dangerous. This is not free expression. This is not First Amendment. They are threatening, intimidating, saying that they will take violence upon Jewish students. We met with Jewish students who are in fear. They can't come on campus. They can't study for their final exams. this affects everybody's lives, and it affects the image that we portray to the world. This is not who we are as Americans. My intention is to call President Biden after we leave here and share with him what we have seen with our own two eyes and demand that he take action. There is executive authority that be appropriate. If this is not contained quickly, and if these threats and intimidation are not stopped, there is an appropriate time for the National Guard. We have to bring order to these campuses. We cannot allow this to happen around the country. We are better than this. Let me say this very simply. No American of any color or creed should ever have to live under those kinds of threats. That is not who we are in this country. We respect free speech. We respect diversity of ideas, but there is a way to do that in a lawful manner, and that's not what this is.
Mr. Speaker, so there are students, some of the student organizers.
And I'm here today joining my colleagues and calling on President Shafik to resign if she cannot immediately bring order to this chaos. As Speaker of the House, I am committing today that the Congress will not be silent as Jewish students are expected to run for their lives and stay home from their classes hiding in fear. We want this administration and the administration of every university campus around the country to bring this to account and to bring this lawlessness to an end. And that's what we need to do. Thank you.
I think the main thing I would say is that, he floated the idea of bringing in the National Guard onto campus, and I think just to put that into perspective, this is a protest where 108 students were arrested peacefully without resistance. They didn't start, beating up the cops didn't start beating up them, and where, there has been acts of violence. There has been incidents of absolutely unacceptable violence, and the people responsible for that should, of course, be held should be prosecuted and held accountable to the greatest extent possible. But those have been largely isolated, and to float the idea of bringing in the National Guard as if this is Kent State is absolutely nutty to me.
I think that the amount of media coverage that this is getting is actually taking away from what is happening over in Gaza and the war. I think that it's really complicated, and while I am incredibly impressed and inspired and in support of what the protesting students are doing, I also feel like total and complete divestment is not going to happen. And I think they need to pick something to agree on, take that win. Their point has been made.
We didn't expect him at all. I think he come here to set fire. In fact, he set fire everywhere. I think that's why just now, as you guys said, we yelled at him, asked him, Mike, you suck. He really suck. Yeah, he shouldn't definitely come here. And as I said, that's not what we expected at all. Now we need our campus peace. We don't want some people that really don't know what's happening and then come here to intervene. And for me, this is a very self-embarrassing political show. He made himself insulted. Students have the freedom of speech, and the protest students, they are not violent. They didn't do anything violent, they didn't break windows, they didn't do those things at all. What makes us scared or threatened is the president bring NYPD to our campus. Is the people like him to bring the National Guard to our campus. We don't need that. That is the thing make us feel scared and threatened.
Pro-Palestinian student protests expanded to more U.S. college campuses on Tuesday after mass arrests at demonstrations among a handful of mostly East Coast schools in recent days. They're all responding to Israel's war in Gaza, launched after a deadly October raid by Hamas Islamist militants. At University of California, Berkeley, a school with a strong legacy of student activism, students erected a tent camp on Tuesday in solidarity with protesters at other schools. The demonstrations coincide with the week-long Jewish feast of Passover.
I'm here especially on the first day of Passover because I believe that in this moment where we celebrate the liberation of our people, it is important to fight for the liberation of others.
The campus of Cal Poly Humboldt, a public university also in California, was shut down after pro-Palestinian protesters occupied a campus building. And at the University of Minnesota campus in St. Paul, police cleared an encampment after the school asked them to take action, citing violations of university policy and trespassing law. The new protests follow the arrest of more than 100 students at Columbia last week and around 120 protesters on New York University's campus late Monday. NYPD said university authorities reached out for help, and protesters failed to clear by the deadline given by the university. New York Mayor Eric Adams on Wednesday defended the actions of police and also said that outside agitators had infiltrated the demonstrations.
We have identified individuals who don't attend the schools who are on the campuses. They latch on to any protest. To see our police officers having bottles thrown at them.
Adams joined in with Columbia administrators, state officials, some members of Congress, and the White House in citing incidents of extreme rhetoric by pro-Palestinian protesters and allegations that Jewish students have been subjected to anti-Semitism and harassment. While student organizers from Columbia have acknowledged several such incidents, they maintain that, quote, inflammatory individuals do not represent their anti-war movement. The White House has said it is closely monitoring the situation on college campuses.